I'm here now, they don't have to watch these cards. And that would make me feel good. Yeah, I've lost my hearing in this year, so yes, it's like, yeah. During the period of
We can always hope. Yeah, and then can you translate?
Okay, everybody hear me? Okay. I'm going to send two things around. I'll start this over here. We'll take a look at it. Then I'll pass this around. Take a look at it. I'll tell you more about it. The questions are tonight, who are you? If you don't know, then you didn't find out before you leave the building tonight. Okay, Hollis? The second thing is, why are you here? And before the night is over, I'm going to tell you, first of all, I'm going to tell you something about me, who I am, and I'm going to tell you why I'm here. Okay? There's one reason why I am here, and I'm going to share that with you tonight. Okay? Anybody know who that character is on the board there? Recognize him? The thing that's been passed around is, and I'll tell you more about it, but so you'll know what it is. It was Getty's campaign holder during World War II. And if you look at it, you'll see all the places that he went from Tennessee to Georgia to Oklahoma to California to Maui, Oahu, Utah, Manus, Late he ended up, oh God, all those are described on there in the order in which that he went. Talk a little about that in a minute. Okay, this is me and my brother.
Which one's you?
The good looking one. Because you tell my brother, you can look at him and tell that he's into something. I mean, it's just, he almost killed me before we got to that age. And nearly killed me on several occasions. Y'all heard me talk about some of the events. It just so happened, he came by yesterday and talked for about 3 hours. And I shared the YouTube I did about Jacob and Esau. And, you know, I had to talk a couple times when he knocked me out of the tree and when he hit me in the head with the bread. Mama said, "You've killed him this time." And he said, you left 2 or 3 out. I said, "Well, so he went over all those where he nearly killed me. Probably the best one is he won a swim bicycle. Biff Goodrich and Murphy were on Broad Street. They called, said, "Ken Florida has won a brand new bicycle." So we fly to town, get the bicycle, come back home, we had a little red wagon. You got a little red wagon, what do you do? Behind the brand new bicycle. We go up to the top of the hill, and he says, "Hold on." Well, when it turned over, I held on, and he didn't stop until we got to the bottom of the hill. I was cut from head to toe. I remember crawling up to the back door screaming. Oh, man. This picture is unique for a couple of reasons. What's unique about that picture right there? That's me in the middle. That's my brother on the front. I'm in the middle. And that's my cousin that's steering that thing. What is it that's unique about that picture? I wish. All right, look at the pistol. Yeah, he's got the cross draw there. But that's my cousin Bill McBroom. He's still alive. His sister was the secretary at College Grove for 40 years, forever. And Janie Rakes, that's my cousin, and that's Bill's sister. His daddy and my daddy were best friends. And this is me and my brother on top of the rabbit cage. That's where we kept the rabbits. When the rabbits died, I just got something else. And what do you notice about this picture? I have 2 guns. I'm holding a double-barrel pop gun. Remember the pop guns you never had in the car? That's what that is. And that's my Daisy Red Ryder on the floor there. This is at our house. And this building wouldn't hold all the BBs I shot in my lifetime. But that was, I could pick up 2 bottles, watch the last test, pick up 2 bottles and get one of these right here. Get a Golden Daisy BB pack. They sold them for 5 cents. But that was what I got for Christmas for years and years and years. With a box like this. I don't know how many packs came in, but probably around 50 packs, something like that. And here's me and my brother. I expect he knocked my teeth out. I don't remember. We tried to figure out, yesterday when he was there, we tried to figure out where that was. We couldn't figure out, but we think it was over Mr. Jarrett's house. First grade, very first day of school. And I remember the first day of school. I don't remember any of the other days, but I remember the very first day of school. It was the only day I didn't get a whipping in the first grade. Miss Brindle whipped me every day. And so the first report card came in. Made a note on it, whatever it was that made Mama, the red flag go up. So my mama goes to see Miss Brindle. How come you're whipping Dane every day? It was very simple. She said, he won't shut up. So, and I'm not sure what grade this is, third or fourth grade. This picture right here, I got sick in the freshman year of high school, and was sick for I missed the whole second half of from January to May of my freshman year of high school. My appendix burst on me, and this is a picture before I went back to my sophomore year. All my hair fell out because I'd taken so much pain medicine that all my hair fell out, and so what was left they cut it off. And this is, a month later, this is when it came back. That's a lot of tough memories right there. Being sick that long before 6 or 7 months was rough. It was probably a life changer. Here is the Last Cases Baptist Church where I was raised. The sign says 1883 to 1924. That's when it burned down and they rebuilt this building. And this is where me and Ken ran into the fence, tore the fence up, wrought iron fence, and tried to got out and tried to fix it. Of course, couldn't fix it, so we left. Never told anybody that we ran into the fence, tore it up. That's a 30-minute story. But here's the Last Cases Panthers. This is my junior year. This is the meow and cat that came to the door every morning. I mentioned the other day, Mother's Day. That's Tom and Dixie. You notice the TV's not on. They were the entertainment every night. Tom and Dixie would fight, and finally the cat would get his claw under Dixie's nose and fight. The playing was over. But that cat every morning would come to the back door and meow, meow. And Mom would go let that cat in, scramble some eggs, and it would run in the bedroom and get on top of me and ever have a cat just get on top of me. That's Tom. And Dixie was my hunting dog. That dog was part beagle, but would hunt anything. It was amazing. This is a picture of my mom. I think she was in high school, I guess. And that's a picture of my mama, and she knew I was showing that picture. You killed me. I got another picture that would be even better, but I wouldn't show it. And here's a picture of Mom and Daddy. It is, I guess, 19 right there. This is a picture of his Mom and Daddy's graduating class. How many boys do you see in that class? 4 boys. Okay, that's 1942. My daddy was the only one that came back alive and sang. His best friend and his first cousin is this guy right here. This is Daddy right here. This is Bill Martin, Daddy's first cousin. And they grew up together, did everything together, played ball together, were drafted on the same day, went to basic camp, went to all basic camp together, and then when they shipped them out, Bill went to Europe and Daddy went to the Philippines. Bill went all through Sicily, Africa, Italy, up through there, and got shot and killed. A sniper shot him off a motorcycle, 1944. This one over here ended up crazy, lost his mind, and the other guy eventually did too, from the things that they saw in combat. Now the next picture is my class. How many boys you see in that class? There were 5 boys. 28 years later, we don't have one more boy than we had in 1942. I always tell everybody I graduated in the top 16 of my class. 11 girls, a couple of them didn't make it. That's where we had 16 and 5 boys, 11 girls. We went on our senior trip in 2 cars. 5 boys in 1 car and 5 girls in another. I guess 6 girls. 6 of the girls were afraid to go with us, I guess. This is Last Cases High School. it was laid up to just a few years ago. They had a rock wall went all the way around it. It was really a nice rock wall. So on that rock wall was the first time I ever remember seeing Nino, only down this way beside the economics room. I remember the first time I saw her. This is Daddy's Bible. He carried around. It's a little Bible, pocket Bible that he carried around all through the war. And I was looking through some stuff yesterday. Ken came over. We'll get some. I had a bunch of pictures he wanted, some of his family, and I saw a Western Union statement. I knew what it was about. Then when he was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Mama got to go out there and be with him. She got a Western Union thing saying, "Go home. I'm in California." Didn't even get to say goodbye. We owe our veterans a lot. Here, he wrote, left the States May the 8th, got to Hawaii May the 16th. He was on a ship. And he made a note. He says, "No, if I ever get back home, read these two verses." The second one says, "I wish that all men were even as myself am. However, each has his own gift from God, one in this way and another in that." And I know what the context of that is. That's probably not what he was thinking about. I often wonder, what was he thinking about? Does everybody need to understand what combat, what war is like? I don't know. Never got to ask him. Here is a picture of grandmother Florida and grandfather Florida. And grandfather Florida, I never knew he died. My daddy was overseas. Daddy didn't get to come home for the funeral. Grandmother Florida grieved herself to death the next 20 years. Never recovered from it. I have no memories of my grandmother Florida. None at all. I only remember maybe seeing her 2 or 3 times. She died when I was about 12. But, now, my granddaddy, on Mama's side, is a different story. This guy right here is my granddaddy right here. He's the picture. Over here, you can barely see him, is his daddy, who is the coach. His name is John Hicks King. He's the one who fought in the Civil War. And I'm going to show you a picture of his pistols he brought back. And his coat, I've got his butternut coat. Another thing that's interesting about this picture is this guy right here. Anybody know who that is? Crockett Haynes. You know where Saturn Plant is? That's where Crockett Haynes lived. Him and Pop grew up and together, and when they got grown, he went to Texas and made money in the oil fields. Came back multi-millionaire. If you know anything about the Hayneses in Murfreesboro, they're very wealthy people. This is my granddaddy here. He, with his double barrel 10-gauge shotgun. That's the way I remember him right there. That's my memory. This is my grandmother, my mama's mama. And here they are. When he got over, you notice his hands. He loved to play baseball. He broke all his fingers playing baseball. He's in the Rutherford County Baseball Hall of Fame. And this is John Hicks. This is the guy that fought in the Civil War. John Hicks. And it's another picture. And he was murdered. He was murdered on the place right there. It's called Kingwood. If you get on 96, go to Murfreesboro, if you know where the white plastic fence is, a couple miles where you get right there just past Salem, that's the old home place. And somebody came up behind him and shot him in the back of the head. This is my great-grandfather, Mama's side. My other great-grandfather, my daddy's grandfather, was killed in a train wreck, the biggest train wreck, most fatalities of a train wreck in Georgia ever. They were coming back, had a storm, and it washed the bridge out, and the train didn't know. It was like 30-something people. There's a monument there now. My cousin went and looked at it the other day. This is his coat. And there's really something really interesting about this coat. Kirkland's gonna like this. This coat was made right there on the place, right there between Salem and Murfreesboro. You know where Salem is, on off 96, on this side of Murfreesboro. That and his pistols, he took off a dead federal soldier after the Battle of Stone River. And my granddaddy could have taken me and shown me exactly where he rode this soldier. What's getting really interesting about this, Kurt, do you know what that is right there? It's a Civil War button, like that on that coat. But what state is it from? That is the Michigan State Civil. So the guy that he rode evidently was from Michigan. But I've got here's his pistol, they're Colt 44s. My cousin was big into guns there some years ago and had a big gun show. He took them and showed us. So this is me and Uncle Robert. And Uncle Robert is the guy that, just like happened to granddaddies, because he lived with my grandparents up till I got out of high school. He didn't get married out of high school. And so every time we went to Big Mom and Pop's, Uncle Robert was there too. And so it's like having two granddaddies. If I went fishing, caught fish, when I got back, I'd call him and tell him all about it. That was the guy that took me hunting, bird hunting, rabbit hunting, frog gigging at night, and wading the creeks and rivers of Texas. Florida Brothers. My daddy started a company, probably the late 50s. Bulldozer Works was what he started out doing. What's interesting about that is, I don't know how he ever did it, because one of the things he did in the war, and the only reason I know this because Uncle Philip talking about it, Uncle Philip was Daddy's youngest brother that was, out of the 8, he was the youngest one, so when Daddy got back from the war, Uncle Philip was like 11 years old, and so he wanted to know everything about what Daddy did, but that's the only person I know that Daddy ever talked to. And one of the things he did was he buried his soldiers. He cleared off battlefield. Well, he got into bulldozer work with a brother. The brother got out. 2 more brothers got in. And he started a parts store and excavation, and then a little later on, they had a machine shop. So I grew up on bulldozers and backhoes. When I graduated from high school, I'll tell you a little bit about going to college in a minute, but when I was in college, I worked in the parts store. Daddy wanted me to learn everything about the business, of course. And then after that, I worked at the machine shop after college. So back in December, I graduated from high school. I get up one morning, go take a shower, get ready to put my blue jeans on, and here's what's laying on my bed. Blue suit. So I went over to Mom and said, "What's the blue suit all about?" She said, "Well, you're going to college today." I said, "No, So she said, "You need to go see your daddy." So I'm dead, and he said, I decided not to go. He said, "Well, you moved out today." I turned around and walked off. You need to go to college or move back, whatever you want to do. And so I didn't even know where to go or anything. He told me where to go, what time it started. I put on my blue suit, go to MTSU, walk into this auditorium that's 10 times bigger than this, and guess how many people have on a blue suit? One other guy. His name is George Allen. He's from Alexandria. He was on the back row hiding. I go back there. I said, "I'm Dave Florida, last day." He said, "I'm George Allen from Alexandria." I said, "Let's go take our coats off and our ties off. We'll take them to a car." We did that. We became best friends. He was an engineering major, a genius, thank goodness. And I was industrial technology. We took almost all of our classes together. At least half for the whole 4 years, took about half our classes together. And he never married, still lives in Alexandria on a farm. I went to see him a few years ago, and he ain't changed it. So here's my 56 Chevrolet. And this is when I graduated from high school. Then, guess what? Got married to this lady right here. And this is the wedding. Now, this right here is the first place we lived. And what's really interesting about that is this was our first house. This is where my grandmother was born. My grandmother was born in 1889, and she wasn't the youngest child. As a matter of fact, she was not the oldest child, she was like the youngest. So the house was probably built in the 1870s or 80s. No heat. It did have electricity. No heat, no bathroom. Had a 3-seater. And y'all know what a 3-seater is?
No.
That's 2 more than a 1-seater. It's a 3-stall outhouse. What's really interesting about that is the people that lived there before was Mr. and Mrs. Adams, G. Adams, and their son, Burton. So there was 3 people that lived in the house, and they had a 3-seater. I've often wondered which seat was whose. I don't know. But we did put a bathroom in before we moved in. We did get a bathroom. And we had 1 heater in the middle of the house. And when we get out of the shower, steam would roll off of us, and we got to the heater in the middle. Oh man, it was an adventure. But it did have an orchard, and had a smokehouse, and a tool shed, and a little garage. A lot of good memories there. Then the impossible happened. My daddy dies. Daddy dies in 1979. We've been married 3 years. We got married in 72. Gonna have our 50th this year. And he died in 75. And I thought, my whole world had revolved around him. I never dreamed. I always thought I would die working for Lord Brothers. So he passed away. And this is a picture was taken just a little while after Daddy died. I was told y'all, he was always a head taller than me. That's Ken. And this is my mom. Mama was 52 when Daddy died, never remarried. Then Margaret Renee was born, and we didn't get any sleep for the next year. I had quit Florida Brothers like an idiot, and was framing houses. And they would stay up one night, and they was working at the college. And one night they stayed up, next night I remember holding her on, and at midnight, remember the TV used to go off at midnight, they'd play the national anthem, fly the flag, and I can remember they sitting there, with eyes wide open, be thinking she was going to sleep, trying to rock her and tear, she'd be wide awake. So that's my memory of my daughter Margaret today. Whew, she about killed us. Then we moved to Franklin in 1978, right after Renee was born. So this is life in Williamson County. It was a little later than that. Went to work for Middle Tennessee Electric, and I had worked for Middle Tennessee Electric in the summer welding transloaders. I'd done that all summer, so I had been to all the offices. I'd worked in Murfreesboro and Lebanon and Woodbury and Franklin, welding up transloaders. And when I decided I didn't frame houses anymore, I started going around trying to find a job. I've gone to the gas company, I've gone to the railroad, the phone company. I couldn't even get in the front door. And so I went to see Middle Tennessee Electric, and they said, yeah, we'll hire you, but you got to move to Franklin. So I went there as a staking engineer. Best job I ever had was staking engineer. I got to go and meet people, farmers, and everybody else, and they say, well, I want electricity to this barn back here. We'd have to figure out how to get the easements and how to cut the right of way. It was a job I really enjoyed because I would get to know people in the community, and at lunch, I always ask them if I could look for arrowheads on their property. So I said, I'll be there from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and I'll have my sack lunch. And I got to meet a lot of people that way. I had a lot of friends. Then, 1982, Ryan is born. And here we are backpacking. I think this is when we did the Georgia and Tennessee Appalachian Trail up there. Had a lot of fun backpacking. So now I want to tell you a little bit about politics. The journal, the fun part about reading that journal is everything is written in that journal from 1894 to 1903 happened in that house I showed you earlier. That's where they lived. And it's really interesting as you read through that journal. If you're not keeping a journal, start today. I highly recommend you do that. It's important for a lot of reasons. Just, if you read any of that, I mean, it is really, really interesting. When they talk about, working all day and plowing ground for 50 cents an acre, that kind of stuff. Set 200 cabbage plants today. Went to Murfreesboro today. I did get back in time for church. He felt so bad about not getting back in time for church. Just stuff like that. Somebody was at their house every night, and some of their kids were somewhere else every night. Every night. Because think about it. Somebody came to see you 10 miles away, they're going to spend the night. They're going to drive horseback and walk back 10 miles back. So I kept a journal for 20 years when I was running. And then when Melanie was born, my first granddaughter, I started again. And the reason, it's not just because of that, but when you write down what you did the day before, there's an accountability there. When I sit down every morning to write down in my journal, I think, did I really do anything worthwhile yesterday? Did I do anything for God yesterday? And you got to write it down. And I think it's important to make yourself accountable. But I have read that thing out many times. It is really cool. And I took up ran for about 20 years, kept a journal for about 20 years, and my goal was to say I had run the circumference of the earth. I didn't make it. I got to about 19,000, I guess like 26,000. I didn't make it. Then I got into metal detecting in 1993, being my good friend Nicholas Jerome Lund Jr., and me and him metal detected everywhere. Here's what when I go to the beach now, I spend half my time metal detecting or fishing. And I love to fish on the beach. It's a lot of fun. You think about fishing on the beach, you can catch anything. I mean, anything. Here's a bunch of guys that used to have a fish fry at Millview. We would go to the Tennessee River, put out trot lines, and man, we would catch catfish. Woo! We would catch enough to feed 200 people when we got back. Then, along with Middleton, I got into digging trash pits. And this, how many of you know where a Gentry Farm is? Out 96, right across West Haven. This is it right here. I spent about 6 months out there one time digging this out. This was the old glass ice house. Now, Mr. Gentry just died the other day. He just passed away. And when we dug this out, he would tell these World War II stories. He was at Auschwitz. He freed the Jews at concentration camps. Really interesting guy. We dug this out. It became a trash pit. We dug up hundreds of bottles. Believe it or not, they got bunches of arrowheads. Somebody must have thrown their arrowheads away. We dug up marbles, everything you can think of, we dug out of there. And we only dug down about 7 or 8 feet. And we got scared that the walls were going to collapse because if you see right here on the corner, we dug down and about another 5 feet and it was still going down. So when we got it all dug out, I said, Mr. Gentry, we got a big hole here. What are we going to do with that hole? He said, I don't know. I said, So we built a shed over it. We built a place over it. That's where he ended up doing his, had his little art place. And, if you pull up to that antebellum home now, to the front door, you look to your right, you'll see a little red tin roof shed, and that's, we covered that up there. Put cedar floor in it, cedar court. We had a lot of fun in this church. He was a great man. Here we're digging a fruit cellar out of Rock Vale, and I don't know how many. If you ever need half a gallon mason jars, I got them. I don't know how you mean. I got. We dug, and that thing was full. The two main things were sweet potatoes. Did you ever think about putting candy sweet potatoes? There were sweet potatoes and blackberries, and they were still in there. But this is my buddy Nick. You can tell he's the one that's supervising there. I'm down in the hole digging. And we were there quite a while digging that out. We had a lot of fun digging trash pits. We dug several trash pits. We dug trash pits 20 by 20 and 8, 9 foot deep. And it's one thing that every trash pit has in common. What do you think it is? Every trash pit has either has it or doesn't have it.
Coca-Cola.
Whiskey bottles. Whiskey or beer bottles. Either they were teetotalers, you've never seen one in there, or it's covered up in a whiskey bottle. We dug up one on West Hartford Road that was full of Jack Daniels whiskey bottles. Here's some of my bottles here. Some of my arrowhead collection. I started hunting arrowheads when I was, I guess, about before I could drive, so probably around the 8th or 9th grade. Me and Steve Duke, I played ball with. We picked up arrowheads that were all over Rutherford County. And then just some of my tools, my great grandfather, one fought the Civil War. And here's some more scrapers and stuff I found, and that's suspender buttons in the bottom of that case. I found that detective. The stuff on the top shelf, most of it found over at Austin Park. This is the post office, and this is where I started collecting stamps. And in the first grade, Aunt Lena was the postmaster. After Aunt Lena, Aunt Peggy was the postmaster. And after Aunt Peggy, Aunt Betty was the postmaster. And this is where my dad would drop us off here in the morning. He wouldn't take us to school because y'all would ride the bus. So he would drop us off right here. We would run down here to right here, go in this door right here, and get the U.S. mail in duffel bags and drag them out here to the street. And Marvin Odom would come by. We'd throw him in the back of his red Ford truck, and he'd drop it off at school. That was every day. I would go in there every day and look at posters. Back then, you had posters of the next stamp that was coming out. I couldn't wait till the next stamp came out. I'd give anything if I had saved those posters. There's some more bottles. Here is some of my stamps right here. And I also collect cigar boxes. And here's some more bottles here, some more bottles here. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of bottles back in the back. And here's some stuff I found, metal detecting. This on the outside are mini balls. These are round balls. These are like 69 caliber mini balls. The rest of them are 58s. And some of these over here are pistol balls. There's some arrowheads. Here's some coins I found. And some knives I found. Here's some cannonballs, pieces of cannonballs I found. Suspender buckles. Every Civil War campsite, you'll find mini balls and you'll find heel taps. See those heel taps up there? And harmonica reeds. Let's see a harmonica reed. They have up there. No, that's not harmonica. But you'll find harmonica reeds. It's almost without fail. There's some more stuff I found. Metal detectors. There's some these Civil War. Almost all of those are Civil War. Some of these right here are World War II, but the World War I. But most of these are, the white ones are find them digging pits and stuff. This is a coat weight right here. The cavalry had coat weights. The bottom of it to keep the coats down as they were riding over. This right here is the most valuable one. That's a Confederate infantry officer, solid brass, got bold-faced eyes. There's some coins that I found. Here's probably the most. Everybody asks what's the most valuable thing you ever found? It's it right there. It's an early militia back in 1830s belt buckle. I found it in Bethesda by an old fireplace. Got into riding motorcycles. Only ended up in the ER once. This is the bike I ride now. And back here is the golf cart. My friend had an old golf cart sitting outside. I said, what are you gonna do with that? I don't know. I said, you wanna sell it? He did. I said, okay, so I bought it, and it had about 5,000 acres in it. It's been sitting out in the woods for about 5 years. And they said, let the granddaughters decide what color you want to paint it. Mint green of all colors. So we painted mint green. There's a small mount bass I call it. They notice I put one of my bigger ones. PR, not you notice I put one of the better ones there. Then Matthew is born. That may be about the biggest life changer of our life. We were fostering newborn babies, and got one that I guess we'll let go of, or he wouldn't let go of, I don't know which, but that was probably the biggest change in our life. This is Matthew. When we took him on, he weighed 3 pounds and 6 ounces. You hold him in your hand like this, and you put a towel around him, and you didn't know if he was in there or not. He was that little. They had and this Renee is 20, and Ryan is 16 there when we got Matthew. So he's got 2 mamas and 2 daddies. And this is Matthew, just about, I don't know how old Matthew is, 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6. And when he was out there, well, Buzz, we had a cat named Tom Fuzz. And Tom Fuzz, he hated that cat, and he would chase that cat up that tree. Well, they went out there one day and just snapped a picture, and there he is. So I went out there, and I thought, I'm going to fix you from chasing Tom Fuzz. So I put him up on that limb. I put him up on that limb right here. He climbed up that tree. That dog got to the top of that tree. I had to climb up in that tree. Get that stupid dog out of the tree. I didn't do that anymore. Honduras, I started going to Honduras in 2001, and first trip I went with Southern Hills, which is a church there out on Goose Creek Bypass, Franklin. And then after that, we got involved in the Rotary Club, and the Rotary Club got involved with the Peace Corps. And Peace Corps would find us things to do. That's what the Peace Corps does. If you don't know much about the Peace Corps, read up on the Peace Corps. It is really a great organization. They go to a country. Each of them has a talent or gift or have been trained to do something specific. And they go there and they live in that country and they have to live by the same means of the people that live there. And Honduras, back then, a Honduran would make about $1,000 a year, 20 years ago. And a Peace Corps person had to live on that amount. And they couldn't have a car, or truck, or a motorcycle. They have a bicycle, but they walked everywhere to public transportation. And public transportation in Honduras was a chicken bus. And so I really had a lot of respect for the Peace Corps. They would find us water and electric projects, mostly is what we did. We were up in the mountains one day. We put in this little general store, but it didn't even have electricity. And we went in and said, y'all ain't cold. Yeah, got lights down back here, so we would sit here on the front porch drinking cold. Here comes this redheaded guy down the road. And he walks by and let him speak. I said, hey, Gringo. He goes, what? I said, hey, we're Gringos, we're in the middle of nowhere in between Agua Fria and El Corpus. I said, where what are you doing here? And he said, I'm with Peace Corps, so I live right down the road right there. I said, well, where are you going? He said, I'm going to Elkhorn Woods. I said, it's about 5 miles. Do you know that? Yeah. He was walking around. And they said he lived up there. No electricity, none of this, lived a little hut. So I have a lot of respect for Peace Corps. Now this right here, this picture doesn't really show it, but I wired a cardboard house under it. That is a cardboard house. The siding is cardboard. And this guy right here, Jim Kinney, him and his brother own about 500 acres in Williams County. If you look at the Harpeth River, look at the Horseshoe Bend in the Harpeth River, he owns everything inside that. You wouldn't know yet. When he retired from Ma Bell, and he said, Dane, I ain't never going to shake again. He far as I know, he still has it. But me and him walked into this house, and I said, Jim, what's in that toad sack? He said, I don't know. I said, let's move it. And he said, so we wired the house. We couldn't stand it. We had to know what was in that toad sack. So we opened that toad sack up, which was a mistake, because it had about 5 garobos in it. There was just iguanas about this long. So we were trying to get the iguanas back in the toad sack and get out of there. But we wired a cardboard house. Okay, now, any kids in here? If it is, I need to cover their eyes up. The next slide is 2 babes on the beach, and they don't have any clothes on, so I'm preparing y'all for it, okay? Okay, there they are. The dad is the Gulf of Dathan Sacred, which is, if you were able to look over here, would be the island of El Tigre. And back this way is El Salvador, and El Tigre is actually a volcano. Okay, I wish I had 30 minutes to tell this story, but the 30-second version is, Al Ladd, a farmer in Williams County, gave me $200 one time and said, hey, next time you go to Honduras, do something for somebody. Get there, get to know this guy named Hector really well. I said, Hector, do you not have any cows? I said, why not? I don't have any money. I said, what's a cow cost? $200, or $5,000 a year. I said, well, you're not going to believe this. That's exactly how much I got to give you. He said, do you know where you go about to get? Next day, we were working on this water project. I said, where? I went to the chief of the village, Abuelo, and I said, Billy-O. I said, Billy-O, where's Hector? We're working on it. He said, he done get the cow. He comes back that night, hands all bloody. I said, Hector, we're on this vaca. Oh, yeah. He had run 14 miles, bought a cow, got 7 miles back, and saw he wasn't going to make it. And he was pulling on that cow with a rope the whole time, ready to handle it. Next morning, he gets up, runs 7 miles, gets the cow. The next day, he's got the cow. Now, this is his herd now. He is now the chief. Hector is now the chief of the village. Just because a guy named Al Ladd owns, tell you how many acres did for him. He's dead now. And now he's got geese, he's got ducks, he's got hogs, you name it, he's got it. This guy right here is a guy that's been to Honduras with me about 35 times. Me and him have gone together almost every time. Here's Doc Anderson. He owns a pharmacy in Cool Springs. It's one of those pharmacies where they mix up they make your, I don't know what that's called. Yeah, he's one of those. And he's cutting up, opening my blisters and fixing my blisters for me. We had a bunch of people that had blisters put down. This lady right here, the first time I met this lady, we're getting water and electricity to about 35 homes in this little place called La Libertad, which is right outside of Triunfo, which is right on the border of Nicaragua and Honduras. She wasn't included in the project. So I went back there to see what it's going to take to get electricity to her. Well, when I get back there, her mother's there, but she's not there. So I told the lady, best I could say, I need to look at your house. I need to go in your house and look and see what's going to take to get your electricity. And so me and her go in there. Well, while I'm in there, she shows up. This is that woman's daughter. She shows up, and boy, she is mad. Because the grandmother, there was 4 or 5 little kids running around there, and she was mad because who is this gringo, and what's he doing in her house? That's a real no-no. You do not cross somebody's property without getting permission. That's the culture there. So she's really, giving me down the road, and so I didn't know what to say. But finally, I thought, well, I'm going to make it up to her. And I said, what is something that y'all need? Well, we need some medicine. We need medicine real bad, and we'd like to have some chickens. So I gave her some money. I don't know how much. I gave her some money. Well, the next day, we're on a project, and here she comes. Y'all know what that means in Honduras? It means come here. I thought, oh boy, I have got me. I can definitely get rid of this woman now. So I go over there, and guess what she does? She hands me the change and shows me the receipts where she bought the chicken and the medicine. This is Rosie. Rosie's blind. We took her to a specialist, and they do the gallbladder, and he says too late. It's the cataracts. Can't be removed. So I took her a little doll, and this is the house she lived in. This is the complete picture. There's not another foot of that house. This house is no bigger than like 12 by 12. This is my oldest son, Ryan, right here. All these people were living in it, plus the grandmother and the grandfather, a crippled boy, and a baby with tuberculosis. There was like 14 people, and another teenage girl that had eyes as yellow as Steve's shirt there. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And so we came back and told the church at Millview about this. We raised enough money that night to build an adobe house, probably about 20 by 30. And here we're taking beds. These are the beds we bought them. To get to this house, you had to walk about a half mile down a dry creek bed to get there. And you had to hire somebody to watch your truck till you got back. That's one of those deals. But they did have a great big mango tree. Ooh, it's a pretty big tree. This year, me and JR, Mullins and Jake, went to Honduras this February. And this is the family we were with, was a woman and 2 children. The father, I don't know where he is. They were living in this house right here. And if you look right up here, the ridge, it doesn't even meet. There's a gap up there. Dirt floors, and we built this house right here. This house was built right here. Bought beds, chest of drawers, and something that's very important is a fan. A fan, and we bought table chairs, and pots and pans, and food, and some silverware, and some other things. We did that for 5 families. We built 5 homes just like that. Anybody know what that is? Something brand bigger than that. That is the meningococcal bacterial meningitis. That's our next life changer. If your child or you has neck stiffness, headache, nausea and vomiting, neck and back pain, fever and chills, increased sensitivity to light, irritability, confusion, you're going to be lucky if you're going to live. If you got little spots like somebody's pinched you all over, stiff neck, worst headache you ever had, then you may be too late to get your child. Renee, this is Renee. When Renee was a sophomore at Lipscomb, she missed her. She was first semester sophomore. This is how quick it can happen to you. The reason I say this, Sunday she goes to Chandler to lake, go swimming. Church that Sunday morning, went swimming that Sunday afternoon. Monday night, the next day, she's in a coma, and I'm carrying her out of the house to the hospital. The doctor comes out and says, we're going to send her to Vanderbilt, and we don't know what she'll do tonight. So I tell you that, if you see any of those things, we took her to the doctor that morning, and they thought she had the strep. I think strep. Gave her tons of penicillin that morning, and it says they had this diagnosis probably made. Then the granddaughters were born. This is Melanie, the first grandchild. That's when I started the journal again. I guess with her, when she's, 2, I guess. This is our daughter-in-law and Ryan. And then there's the second granddaughter, Dottie. And Dottie again. And then this is Dottie Melanie again. Then we, 2009, we come to Tusculum. Then 2010, I'm retired and I highly recommend it. The challenge of retirement is how to spend time without spending money. I love this one. I had this on my desk for probably 10 or 15 years before I retired. And it said, this is great, no more pressure. Retired. Then one day, David Harley, guy I worked with 30-something years, called and said, hey, Florida, you want to go to New York? I said, well, what for? And he said, they had a hurricane up there, but they didn't help get the lights back on. I said, well, I'll go if you'll go. Big mistake there. Don't ever say that. I'll go if you'll go, because they'll go every time, So he said, go, get online and fill out this application. I filled out the application. Hit the button, left my shop, walking back to the barn, and this guy calls me. He says, it's Dan Florida. I said, yeah. He said, we got you on a flight to Albany, New York. You need to be on it in Nashville in 3 hours. That started my time with Storm Service. Storm Service can take care of about 10,000 first responders. They can give showers, food, sleeping trailers. What's the other thing? Sleep, eat, showers. What's the other thing, Rob? 4 things. Anyway, first storm, we went to Hurricane Sandy on Long Island, spent 2 weeks up there. Second deadliest hurricane in history. 233 people killed. We got there, it was only a 1 when it hit Long Island, but it hit at high tide. I saw poles that had places knocked out of them 15, 20 feet high. I saw towns that had been completely submerged. Me and Rob saw that in North Carolina. We saw whole towns, all you see was the roof. Remember that hit North Carolina? Me and Rob, we were in Raleigh. They kept telling us to go over here to the coast, and we kept trying. Finally said, let's go north about 150 miles, then we'll turn right and come back down. We finally got to, I forget the name of the little town. Here's what hurricanes do, 14 in a row. That is a pole sticking in the top of a house. Here, Rob dropped me off one time. I walked out 12 miles of railroad track, looked down, he was in the middle of the track too. That's Cottonmouth. That day we saw, people on our team saw alligators and bears, black bears in sugarcane fields. This was in Louisiana. 2013 we lose Anita's mama. 2017 we lose my mama. 2015 we lose Chandler. Chandler was Matthew's big buddy. Then, December 2020, I had a heart attack. You know what that means, don't you? You go to the pharmacy and say, I want one of everything. They start taking one of everything. So, I went from no medicine to the whole pharmacy. Remember Dave saying, because I said something? Here was my daddy's. We got 4 minutes left. Listen Four things my daddy said. Keep your mouth shut, you know what you know, and what the other guy knows. And that can't ever do nothing. Terrible, ain't it? If you can't say something good about somebody, keep your mouth shut. He would literally knock us down if he heard us say something. Heard us say something about somebody else that wasn't positive. And he'd say over, this is the one that I hope you don't forget about here. Is Dan, you need to work about what Dan does. That's important. I can't tell how many times I've thought about that. When you get frustrated with somebody else, you get frustrated with the church, you get frustrated with your neighbors or your community, you need to work about what Dan does. I think it's Gandhi said it. I must live a life, but if somebody says something bad about me, no one will believe it. Bob Harder's a guy that was on the board with FEC. He and I were in Wood's church together, and he gave me this little plaque. His daddy used to hand them out all the time. And I kept it on my credenza in my office behind my desk, and it said, Lord, help me to remember nothing's going to happen today. You're down here at King Now. I can't tell you how many times I get a phone call and like, I'm not going to deal with this one. I do with that. 7 rules of life: make peace with your past so it does not affect the present. Others think of you as none of your business. Time heals almost everything. Give it time. Don't compare your life with others and don't judge them. You have no idea what the journey is all about. It's all right not to know all the answers. They will come to you when you least expect it. You're in charge of your happiness. Smile. You don't own all the problems in the world. I used to tell the kids when I taught classes, especially 6th grade, I'd say, your thoughts become your actions become your character becomes your destiny. Control your mind. My favorite verse in the whole Bible is this. Jesus answered and said unto him, if man love me, he will keep my words. And my Father will love him, and we will come unto him, and we will make our abode with him. That's my favorite verse. Wish I had time to read If you haven't read If, Rudyard Kipling's If, read it again and again and again. I keep it in one of my books. I got it stamped inside one of my paid devotional books. Rudyard Kipling. This is the box that had this canteen holder in it. And I told you I was going to tell you I know why I'm here. The reason I'm here, and I didn't know this until about 10 years, 15 years ago now. This was in that black box. And I got out and was looking at it. We cleaned the well house out. I said, what's that in that box, Mom? She said, did your daddy not tell you about that? I said, he never told me anything about the war. He was in a ditch. And the sniper killed the guys on both sides of it. And his buddies. And the bullet intended for him hit this right here. That's why this hole. He carried that 7.7 Jap bullet around for years and years and years. So I tell people, I know why I'm here. I'm here because of this right here. And that's why I'm here. Simple enough. This is not Melanie saying bye. This is me saying bye. And it's Melanie saying bye. And like everybody else, it's 8 o'clock. The quiet, we've all been talking about quiet time, and to me, quiet time is personal. It's what me and God do. And it's kind of like fasting one day, until everybody fasting. But for me, personally, what I do between me and God is between me and God. And I try to think of it about what Peter said, that we really pray without ceasing. To me, my relationship with God is 24/7. It has to be. Thank y'all for listening. I've been very good to listen. I kept you over 1 minute. Didn't mean to. Thank y'all. I do want that turn on the back. I'll let you read it if you want.